the recording for today's session. Excellent. Well, my name is Lucy Foster and I'm facilitating the presentation today. Dr. Anthony Stevenson will be talking to you about our accounting and finance programs in just a few minutes. So, but just to give you a bit of an introduction, I wanted to talk to you very briefly about the University of Derby and the University of Derby Online Learning. Some of you may already know a fair bit about us, but if you're fairly new to us and also to online learning, just to put it into context really, the University of Derby is a university. We are based in the centre of the UK, in the Midlands. We gained university status in 1992, so last year we celebrated our 25th year anniversary, which was a fantastic occasion, and we would class ourselves really as a modern university, and by that it means that we provide teaching that is informed by research, and we're focused on delivering a real-world experiential learning. We're expanding all the time and we invest in our on-campus facilities, but also invest in our online learning technology and development as well. Our teaching quality and student experience are at the heart of everything that we do here, and we were delighted last year to have been awarded a gold standard in the new Teaching Excellence Framework, and that places us in the top 20% of all UK universities for consistently outstanding teaching and learning outcomes for all of our students, and as you can imagine, that's something that we are incredibly proud of. For those of you that are familiar with the Times Good University Guide, we are recognised as a top 20 university for our teaching quality, and they also rate us as a top 10 performer for student welfare as well. So, we're very proud of that. So just to put in context then, for the University of Derby Online Learning, we are the thriving distance learning division of the University of Derby. We've been offering, as a university, Derby has been offering online learning for many years, and since 2001 we've been offering online distance learning to students who really are looking for a more flexible way to study, so they can't come on campus and they're looking for an alternative way to achieve their university degree. So what we've done over the last 16, 17 years now is we've learned to tailor our courses specifically for online delivery, and in 2011 the University of Derby Online Learning was established. We have students from all over the world on our programs. As long as you have access to the internet, then you are able to study with us online, so location is no barrier to us. And we do have a vast range of online undergraduate and postgraduate courses, and we've also introduced some short CPD courses as well last year, and we do have some free courses as well, which are known as MOOCs, which some of you may have heard of. So obviously you're considering online learning as part of your study to achieve your degree, and this really is a mode of study that is increasingly popular, just really to give people the option to be able to study at a time and a place that suits them. And the statistics on the screen here, most of them are based on American stats because they're a bit ahead of us in terms of their online learning developments. But it just shows you how popular online learning is, and that it is actually now becoming a more recognised and a more competitive way to learn. So if you choose to study with us, then we will support you wholeheartedly throughout your student journey with us, and through our vast experience and expertise we've been able to deliver a virtual campus experience which is enriched with support for you during your studies. And your academic team are absolutely critical and a key part in being able to deliver your tutoring and your academic support. And our academics have a wealth of experience and knowledge which they can share with you. And because of the nature of being online, it means that we can also pull in tutors to teach on specific modules who are experts in those particular areas, and they don't have to be based here in Derby or in the UK to be able to do that. Our online learner advisors are also able to support you with any non-academic issues throughout your studies. They can advise you on study plans and give you any of that sort of practical help that you need. And once you've enrolled onto your course, you would be assigned a named advisor who would be your primary contact throughout your studies. And it's also worth mentioning that from an academic point of view, you would also have a personal tutor appointed to you when you study with us as well. And just on the screen here, you can see that the other kind of key areas of support, we do also have an IT service centre, so you can have IT support. We have careers and employment service that is available to you when you're a student. And then also once you've graduated, you can still contact the careers team for some help and support there. We have a fantastic e-library and resource centre that helps to enrich your studies and your learning and has accessible content there for you. And as a University of Derby student, you'd also be able to access student wellbeing services as well. So, so there really is an awful lot of support there to help you with your studies. And as I've already alluded to, online learning does give you the option to be able to study anytime, as long as you've got access to the internet. You can download some of your learning content, so if you do need to take it offline, if you're traveling, for example, and you wanted to do some work, then there is that facility to be able to do that as well. And there's just a few quotes there from some of our students, just who, you know, whether they've started the course when they were working in the UK, but then they're traveling for their work, etc. Then it does give you that flexibility to be able to take your studies with you wherever you are. Okay, so that's just a brief overview, a bit about UDOL and online learning. But I'm now going to hand over to Dr. Tony Stevenson, and he will talk you through some more information about our accounting and finance programs. Over to you. Okay, everybody, sorry about that. We've just got a slight problem with Tony's headphones, so we're just going to swap terminals here. So if you can just bear with us for 2 seconds. Thank you.
Good morning or good afternoon, as Lucy suggested. You're from probably all parts of the world. So my name is Tony Stevenson, and welcome to the evening's webinar. And I'm largely here to try to encourage you to think about online learning, and particularly online learning with regard to management accounting, financial accounting, and also our financial master's degree. To start off with then, why choose the University of Derby Online? Well, I think it's fair to say that Derby has a vast amount of experience of actually tailoring the course to suit the students' needs, to suit the students' learning style, and also to sort of coincide with their own time management. We're also very conscious about designing the course that it's actually aligned to the industry-led program structures. By that I mean effectively, what is the industry demanding in terms of finance? What is the industry demanding in terms of management, accounting, and so on? I mean, apart from the professional demands, there are other skills that are absolutely necessary for financial accountants going into industry today. And also, as to just reinforce Lucy's comments, to personalize guidance, where we would assign you with a particular tutor that would have a particular expertise to guide you along that process, so that you're confident and don't feel, you know, out in the open when you need to have a hands-on experience. Okay, just moving on. So I'm going to kick off with the two programs that are on offer. I mean, I'll speak about the master's degree in finance a little bit later, but to start with the two programs, these programs are top-up programs, and they're largely designed for those persons who are actually in the industry or have a desire to go into the industry that need to have a degree. Now, by what I mean is the first part would be if you're already in the industry. For example, you might be a management accountant or you might be a financial accountant. You may have entered into that industry via an HND or via a diploma, and you may want to consider having a top up to arrive at a bachelor's degree in either accounting or a bachelor's degree in management accounting. And you can see from the screen, though, there are some sort of exemptions from the module if you're actually in possession of any of the professional exemptions. So, for example, you can gain a module exemption if you're actually in possession of the completion of the ACCA papers, 7 and 8 papers. And if you're a CIMA member, you'll need to have completed the F3 module in order to receive a module exemption. Generally speaking, what we tend to find is that though there are some students that have the ACCA exemptions or the ACCA exams, and that does entitle them to have some module exemptions, not exceeding more than 2, of course. So what is the accounting and finance top-up degree? There is an emphasis on the finance and accounting degree in terms of financial reporting, and it's largely oriented towards the ACCA Chartered Accounting qualification. And in so doing, the modules that we're actually setting down here, as you can see, the modules have three core and 2 options, but they are oriented in a way to achieve financial accounting status or professional association status. And we do have quite a bit of scope on those options, though. So if you are an existing ACCA holder and going for that degree, you can actually specialize by taking one of those 4 options. So I mean, if you're not aware of what financial accounting is, it does separate from management accounting in that financial accounting is more historical reporting. It's more presenting the financial accounts, to a number of stakeholders, obviously to, the government and so on, and banks. And it's a historical snapshot of the organization's performance. And it will cover a number of things like treasury, risk management, currency. All of those are factored into that. And it does lead to the Professional Association of Certified Accountants. If you are already an associated financial accountant or chartered accountant, you can use your examination passes to actually achieve your financial degree and module exemption in that way. So slightly different from the management accounting. And management accounting is largely an internal reporting system whereby management accountings are looking at cost center bases, and they're looking at the actual cost versus the forecast cost. They're more into the budgeting of the organization, where the chief executive officer, for example, would actually set down a particular strategy, and management accounting tends to work more towards the orientation of, looking at the costs of the organization, comparing that to budget, and arriving, on budget or below budget, and then identifying the variances and those types of expertise areas. Now, financial strategies, you can see from the screen, it's all core here. I'm looking at the financial strategy, strategic management, risk management, research methods, and independent study. Risk management, as you probably might gather, might cover all manner of things like credit exposure or risk credit exposure. It might also cover currency exposure. We know that many organizations today are operating in a global environment and there are all manner of risk exposures and they need to be examined and evaluated, and that comes under, I guess, under the management accounting umbrella. It's a very interesting area, and it does drive into the very heart of the productivity or into the service orientation of management accounting. And that, again, is the 120 credits. The MSc Finance program is quite different, quite a different ball game in terms of it's a master's degree, and it isn't 120 credits, it's 180 credits. And here we can spin off and specialize into the various areas. So, for example, the main core would be finance itself, but you might want to go into the financial markets, or you might want to go into the money markets or risk management and those types of areas. So again here, if you look at the screen, you can see that it's actually broken down into 3 specific areas: finance, investment banking, and financial engineering. And you can see, if we look at the left-hand column on the finance, corporate finance would cover things like time value, bond markets, risk management, and those kinds of things. You'll see on the right-hand side corporate finance and also investment banking. You can see on the bottom we have investment banking unit there. And financial engineering, this would be largely, you know, those that want to be involved brokering or in the money markets, and generally sort of financial engineering. Derivatives would be things like the credit default swaps, how to manage the bank's credit risk, for example, by using instruments such as derivatives. The options there, you can see there are only 2 options you can find from there: fixed income securities in the left hand column of finance. Again, this is specializing into the derivatives markets or commodities trading. And again, if you're moving across, any 2 options, again, fixed income and so on. And you see international finance. So these independent studies also have 60 credits. And you can specialize in those particular areas, and your own research, you know, will be guided by a personal specialist encouraging you in that particular area. Okay, I've sort of done a bit of a quick whistle-stop tour, but I'm very happy to field any questions that you set down, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much, Tony. Now, can you hear me? Hopefully everybody can hear me. Just got a different microphone on at the minute. Okay, can people hear me? If you could just let me know. Sorry, we've just had a few problems with the headphones. If you can just click on the, oh, that's perfect, wonderful, thanks Nina. So yes, we do have time for questions now. So if you want to use the text chat facility to type in any questions that you've got for Tony, we do have plenty of time to cover any specific information that you would like to know. We'll give you a few minutes to think about what you would like to ask. In the meantime, actually, I was going to ask Tony if he could maybe just talk a little bit about how it works in terms of the online learning, so how people are assessed with their coursework and that kind of side of things. Would you be able to talk, just give us a bit of an overview on that?
Yes, of course, Lucy. Thank you very much. The course itself is 100% assessed. It's not actually exam assessed. So you're given a series of assignments, and largely coursework 1 or coursework 2, and then your independent studies. But the coursework 1, for example, you would start a first unit, and your tutor then would talk you through this and set up a series of assignments. So you're actually following the unit online, and supported by the tutor. So, for example, you might have financial strategy, and you're actually going to go through a process where you achieve a course learning outcome, having a good understanding of what financial strategy is. It could be, working capital, how to actually organize working capital, and then you would have a series of, self-checking assessments, so that you make sure that you're fully au fait with all of the individual assessments. So it's a kind of a sort of self-checking, and also at the end, you'll probably be required to write a short essay or a short assignment whereby you're able to reflect your understanding. And it's largely non-summative. There is some summative, but largely formative work where the tutor is actually assessing with you along the way. You would then submit your assignment, and then that would be evaluated, and then you would be graded accordingly, and you would get a very thorough feedback. We are aiming, of course, to try to give very real-time feedback and respond very, very quickly to you, so that you can actually make any adjustments that you might need to along the way. But generally speaking, we are aligned to the course learning outcomes as set down by the QAA, and those course learning outcomes are governed by what we call the industrial descriptors. So, for example, what is a good graduate? What makes a good graduate? It might be a very, very all-round understanding of financial reporting or financial accounting, or particular areas. For example, an accountant might have to be able to think quite independently and be able to make assessment or problem solving. So this might be a particular industrial descriptor or course learning outcome which would be evaluated, and that would be part of your assessment, so that at the end of the assessment period you would have achieved a particular learning outcome. And of course then that is translated into a transferable skill. So another example might be, you might be required to make an assessment using a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, and that again, as a course learning outcome, might be to have the ability to be able to solve problems using current resources or current information, or instruments that are available to people operating in the finance industry. Now, why would that be? That's largely because when you go into industry, it's likely that you'll have to sit in front of a computer and start working on a spreadsheet. And of course, as a course learning outcome, you will have already achieved this, and you will have self-checked this in your self-assessment. So that might be one way, if you like, to sort of go through that process. And we're very, very keen to ensure that you do actually acquire those transferable skills which actually make you industry ready or global ready for either employability or for either higher levels of management. But certainly having a good understanding is done through the course learning outcome achievements. Over to you, Lucy.
That's great. Thanks very much, Tony. We've had some questions that have come through. So the first one is from Nina. Can we study as many modules as we would like at one time?
Yes, of course. There is a limited amount, really, and I think that's largely set by yourselves. I mean, yourselves what you're capable of doing, but we, as a guide, we try to have three or four units in any one semester, so that you could effectively achieve the total course in 1 year. But it tends to be the average tends to be around about 15 to 18 months, and I think students generally recognise that they learn more by pacing themselves more effectively, and have a much more rounded, good student experience, rather than trying to sort of whistle through the course and probably yes, maybe achieving it, but achieving a means to an end rather than actually enhancing or getting a good learning experience. So we would, whilst we wouldn't actually dissuade you from doing it, we would try to encourage you to make sure that you're confident about going at your own pace. But to answer your question, there is a limit, obviously, and that would be sort of measured by the tutor and the student, working in collaboration with each other to make sure that both parties are comfortable with that process. Does that answer the question?
I think as well, just to add, Nina, that we work on a trimester basis. So we have 3 terms per year of 10 weeks. And then over that 10-week period, we would expect, or we normally say to people that you would need to allow around 200 hours per 20 credit module. So that's roughly 20 hours per week for study. And that could be a mixture of it could be research or reading or working on an assignment or a piece of work. But if you were then to do 2 modules at a time, obviously then that's 40 hours per week. So if you're working as well or you've got other commitments, it can be quite challenging. So, and some students, do find it works for them, they've got the time available. But just to give you a guide, that's it kind of helps to visualize it a little bit when you realize what the investment of time is in study, but I hope that's helpful. We have had some other questions. The next question has come from Keith. Do we have any stats on past students finding employment after completion in this field? He's been doing some research, and most positions want experience without a full degree. With a year in industry, there is no option to gain experience. I don't know if you want to I think Tony probably answered a little bit of that in his previous question, in that our courses are designed really they are designed for professionals working in industry. I don't know if you want to add anything on that, Tony?
Well, the only thing I would like to add is that we are making great inroads now to actually develop very robust strategic partnerships within industry, and what we're trying to do is to encourage some of our industrial colleagues to actually come and give webinars, and that could be one opportunity where students could network quite effectively. So even though you may not necessarily have the appropriate experience, it might be such that you could strike up a particular relationship with the strategic partnerships that we intend to form in the future, so that it can actually develop your networking skills to give you certainly the initiatives to start dialogue with potential employment opportunities.
That's great, thank you. Keith, I hope that's been helpful. If you still want other questions, then please do just use the text chat facility to let us know. There's another question from Anna. Is this BA course recognised for a PGCE anywhere in the UK if one decides to take that route?
Yes, it is, yes.
Great. Okay, that sorts that one out, hopefully, Anna. Question here from Byron. What level of accounting experience or education is required for the management accounting top-up? I have applied from a business management economics foundation.
Yeah, I think that we tend to accept diploma at level 5, going forward with the management top-up degree. But if there is some sort of doubt about that, we actually do have a foundation starter where you can actually go forward with a foundation at level 5, and then that automatically gains you entry into the management top-up degree.
Thanks, Tony. And Byron, I don't know if you've seen on our website, it does list the entry criteria for the management accounting. It is quite specific for that course. So, so do take a look at that page if you haven't already. I'm just going to put the link here for you, just so that you can take a look at that if that helps. Okay, we've still got plenty of time. So if anybody's got any other questions, then please do just let us know.
Can I just say something? This slightly sort of deviates. We probably haven't put this in print yet, but we are quite confident that we're going to align our degrees and our master's degree in finance with the CFA affiliation, and we're just mapping our programs now, and the early signs are that it's very encouraging, and it looks as though we probably will in the future. It may not necessarily be a very appropriate now, but it looks so in the future we will be affiliating with the CFA. I myself am a CFA, and I think it's a very exciting sort of opportunity because it allows a lot of networking, and it also allows existing resources that can actually work with the students, so students can extend, if you like, the resources and extend their networking opportunities through these professional bodies. So that's something that's quite exciting that's happening. And I think that also you'll probably note from the financial accounting degree, it isn't actually exempt from the ACC examinations. And again, we are in dialogue to try to gain some exemptions there, and the early signs are quite encouraging. So it might be such, and probably Lucy might stop me here, but it might be such that in the future, may not necessarily be right now, but in the future, we might be able to offer some exemptions for the ACCA. Not if you are on campus doing a full-time financial degree course. It's a 3-year course, and generally we see exemptions from F1 to F9. But even if we're able to get 1 or 2 exemptions, I think it's quite encouraging, and particularly going forward with the SEMA as well. Just a sort of as an aside to that.
Okay, we've had another question that's come through from Anna. She says that she's not working at the moment, but she does have 10 years experience as a management accountant from 2004 to 2014. She also has ACCA F1 to F9. Would she be eligible for the top up for the BA in accounting and finance?
Yes, I see that would not be a problem, and it might be even fair to say that you might be able to get a module exemption.
Great. I think the best thing to do there, Anna, would be to complete one of our online application forms with as much information as you can, stipulating all of your experience, etc. And then that will come through to our admissions team, and they'd be able to look at all of your information. If there's anything else they need to know, if they have any questions, then they would get in contact with you, and then they'd be able to assess everything and let you know whether your application had been successful. But if you just fill in the online application form, then we can take it from there then. If you're interested in applying for January, actually, let me just pop that up quickly. Yeah, if you're interested in applying for January, then our deadline for applications is on Sunday, that's the 14th. Term starts on the 29th. Or you can apply now for our other intakes, which are in May or September this year. You can apply online at any time for any of those intakes. And our admissions team, as I say, will assess your application and then come back to you. And you only make a payment at the point when you enroll onto the course, and enrollment would normally open, it's usually around 6 weeks before the course. So yeah, so there is still time if you did want to apply for January. Nina's just asked, is there a degree ceremony like an attended degree? Yes, there is. We do have a graduation ceremony. It's part of the University of Derby one, and that they happen in July and November. So depending when you complete your course, you would be invited to attend one of those. And it's a great opportunity. We love graduation because we get to meet you, our graduates. It's usually the first time that we get to see people face to face, and you have the opportunity to meet your academic teams and to meet other students on the course and the online learner advisors. So it's a great day, and we tend to host usually a lunch buffet lunch reception, so that we're giving you the opportunity to come and experience a little bit of what it's like to be at the university as well. So it's a really great day.
Can I also mention that online students at Derby are Derby University students? There is no differentiation between the two, other than face-to-face contact with an academic. But actually, you're almost getting a face-to-face contact. But as far as the resources go, you have access to the library and access to all of the data banks in the library, and every opportunity and every access is available for the online students, as would be for the students here on campus. Do they get a library ticket as well?
Yes, if you, again, as Tony's just said, if you're local to Derby, you can come in and use the facilities at the university. So if you wanted to come and use the library or come on campus, you will get a student ID card. And we know many of our international students, they love the thought of having a university student ID card as well. And that would be something that would be issued to you when you enroll onto the course. So yeah, we try and give our students the same experience as you would have on campus, really, but in a virtual environment. So Byron's just asked for more detailed course inquiries. Who should we contact? I think if you email us, Byron.
You can email me directly.
Okay. So if you want to email Byron, what we'll do is, Byron, after this, we'll email you with Tony's contact details, and then you can contact him direct with any more questions, if that's okay. Excellent. Yes, so just if you do have any more questions, we do still have time, but just to point you in the direction on our website, we do have a guide to online learning, and that has a lot of other information in about general information about online learning, how it works, etc. So you'll find that on the online study course page. In fact, I can give you the link right now, but that is worth, if you haven't had a look in there, it's worth having a look in there just to explore the details and just take a look around. There's videos and things in there as well, which you might find useful. And then also, if you do need any more information after today, if you think of other questions after the webinar is finished, you can contact us. Our telephone number is there, or you can email us at udol@derby.ac.uk. And to keep up to date with information and things that are happening, you can follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. And if you go onto YouTube and just do a search on University of Derby Online Learning, then you'll be able to see there's lots of different videos on there, from graduation, case studies, etc. So you'll be able to see that. Oh, we've had another question here from Anna. Does the university follow the UK half-term dates?
I think the University of Derby might do, but I would suspect that UDOL online would not.
Yes, I think because we have these 10-week trimesters, Anna. So, for example, our January, if you start in January, the term runs from the 29th of January through to the 6th of April. So you would then, at the end of that 10-week period, you would be submitting a piece of work for assessment. That's your formal part of your assessment. I think there might be a couple of weeks then until you start your next module, if that's what you were doing. So it's a little bit different to a normal sort of term time. We are structured in a slightly different way because we have the three 10-week terms per year.
That being said, though, you could actually have a half term yourself if you wanted to factor it in. The emphasis being, it's actually your own timing, and you create your own timetable, according to your own needs.
Yes, and I know some students have said that they, depending on their jobs and their home life as well, some people find it easier to do all their studying in the week, and then they can't commit to it at weekends. Some people can't do anything in the week, so they just focus on doing their studies at the weekend. You do have that flexibility to be able to fit it in, when it's the most convenient time for you. I think the only thing is, obviously, it does run over that 10-week trimester, so there would be a requirement that you would have to submit a piece of work at the end of that 10-week period, unless something, if something major is happening, then that's when you would just talk to us to see, if we can support you. If there was something critical happening, then we would certainly do our best to support you. But we say it's a sort of structured and supportive learning experience. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, then I would say that that's probably the end to our formal presentation, but Tony and I will stay online for a few more minutes, so if you do have any more questions, then please do get in touch. But like I've said, we will make the recording available to you tomorrow, so you can listen over it again, and then if you do have any more questions, then please do just get back in touch with us again, and we would be happy to answer any other queries that you may have. So thanks so much for joining us today, and we hope you'll enroll onto one of our courses, but if not, then we wish you the best of luck and success in everything that you do. So thanks very much.